Hey, what's up, everybody? Frederick Polk here. There was something that Bernie Sanders recently said at one of his town halls. Something I've been thinking about for a while. We have the most affluent country and society in the history of humanity. There has never been a society as affluent and as wealthy as ours. And yet, we have the most wealth inequality that we've ever had. More than the Gilded Age. It's here in this present moment. And all we keep hearing about, all we keep seeing is corporations getting more and more and billionaires getting more and more. Hell, they've come out loud and proud for it at Trump's inauguration, all standing there. And it's never enough. We got an unelected one right now. Getting ready to take. He's held up a literal chainsaw that he wants to take to our government. Cutting PACT Act for burn pit victims, people with cancer, veterans, folks who served. We didn't even help the 9/11 first responders until Jon Stewart basically shamed Congress. That's what it took. It wasn't just, yeah, we should do this. We're going to throw trans people under the bus. We've got a supposed leading member of the Democratic Party on a podcast agreeing with a bigot, saying, oh, yeah, trans people. Oh, yeah. I've seen thought pieces blasting diversity, equity, and inclusion hiring practices, using MAGA talking points against them, as if there's some kind of quota, and that's not what they do. It just says hiring practices need to be fair. When in fact, the beneficiary of DEI, the biggest one by far, is white women. Black people are last on the list, especially black women. And yet, we want to cut programs that are needed. Not just luxuries, they're needed for poor people to literally survive. So billionaires can get what? More of a tax break? So the wealth gap can grow even more? We have private insurance that we spend more money on for worse outcomes, or when we need it for a preventable illness. Can't get it, locked out of it. Thousands of people, tens of thousands of people dying every year now. Accelerated with AI. So much so, we turn a lone gunman into a folk hero. In the most affluent society in the history of humanity. We have more deaths from gun violence. And we're told, well, nothing we can do about it. Kids going to school with bulletproof backpacks. Doors that don't have glass windows on them anymore. That are reinforced. There's kids that have gone through active shooter drills before they're ever in middle school. That's the society we live in. And the reason we're here is that every moment when leaders could have taken a stand, they chose not to. Or worse, they've stopped other younger leaders who are there for the right reasons and hungry to do the good work, they've stopped them from rising. I've been a Democrat ever since Obama. I grew up in a Republican household. Both my parents were federal employees. And, I didn't vote in the first couple elections. It was Clinton and Dole, the first one I could have voted in. I didn't vote in that one. And I didn't vote in the 2000 one either. But once the Iraq War kicked off, that's what awakened me. I was already out of the military by that point. I'd busted my knees in a trading accident. And I had friends that were going overseas. I had a lot of them that came back. They weren't right in the head after that, or they had health problems. Probably a lot of them from burn pits. They didn't know back then. They said it was akin to Gulf War syndrome. Just never quite right. And now, you got an unelected billionaire, again, holding up a literal chainsaw, talking about people like working folks, calling them parasites. Folks I've worked with at LAX, young men working full-time jobs, 40 hours a week and more, can't move out of their house, can't afford to get an apartment and a car. Can't do it. I've worked with guys, they work 7 days a week. Sometimes having 2 and 3 jobs if you count Uber. For a little while, I worked 2 full-time jobs to try to save up some money. I was literally living at the airport for 3 months before the pandemic hit. Living out of a car. Yeah, I had an apartment. I went there to shower. But I could get 2 more hours of sleep if I slept in the back seat of my car, or if I slept in one of the offices. I was trying to save up some money, paid off some debt. And you know what? I wasn't the only one. That's the America we're living in now. Because like with this CR and Chuck Schumer and these Democrats who want to cave, when these moments happen, we can cut one more. They can take one more for the team. There ain't that much more to take, guys. This is it. This is the line. And I don't know what needs to happen. Whether it's a third party or it's this or that, or Dem leadership needs to be kicked out, whether they resign or quit, I don't care. I don't care about the horse race anymore. I don't care if it's Pete Buttigieg. I don't care if it's Tim Walz. I don't care if Kamala comes back. I do not care. We need a party for working middle-class people. Everybody who is not a billionaire, in the top 0.01%. That's literally everybody making more than $17 million a year. That's it. All the problems we have would be solved if you literally just taxed billionaires 2 to 3%. That's it. That's never brought up. Oh, we got to make cuts to Medicaid. Got to make cuts to this. Got to make cuts to that. Why can't we raise revenue? Why is that never on the table? Why are we cutting things? They're costs. People need those. In the most affluent society in the history of humanity, where we used to take on big challenges, we can't do that anymore somehow. At a certain point, you have to ask yourself, it's not so much we can't do it, but who's standing in our way to keep us from doing it? I think we know who that is. It's time we had a party that represented the people. It's time we had a party that represented everybody but the billionaires. And whether that's new Democratic leadership, the ones that are hungry in the House, the ones that are in the Senate that are doing the good work, or we go join another club. But either way, we got to figure it out. And we will. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Keep the faith, defend democracy, and I'll see you later.